Hey all, so in this video I'm going to be testing out my top 5 favourite pilot squads. These are the pilot squads I would definitely recommend getting if you can. So a bit more about me. I am a completely free-to-play player, VIP 0, combat power just over 2.9 million. I don't really play PvP that much, which is why my PvP points are pretty low. I've nearly got everything unlocked. I'm just missing a few of the merged skins you can see at the end. And I do have most of the wings as well at 3 stars, with the exception of a few of the starting ones. You see here. There we go, just quickly go through them. That's who I am anyway. Alright, so onto the pilot squads themselves. So if we go over to the pilots page, you can see all my pilots are level 20. There we go, let's scroll through, and I do have all of the squads unlocked. Now a few of the squads I'm not going to be testing. The Rich Man squad, double Evolve Stone drop rate in battle. I haven't really noticed that much of a difference when using this. It must increase the drop rate slightly, but not by a significant amount. Snowflake squad is a similar story. Reduce enemy movement speed and bullet speed by 20%. It's a slight difference, but not really significant, unfortunately. Supergirl squad, 150% super time once per match. Helpful depending on when you get the super time. Then let's scroll down a bit more. Mega squad, that's straightforward. Suicide squad as well. Supernova squad is only for the drones, so not excessively helpful. Then if we scroll down, Super Squad here, PvP skins, cooldown will be 30% faster, may help a bit in PvP. Air Force Squad, depending on what mode you are playing. Mini boss mode, your power is halved, and same with PvP. Ranger Squad is completely useless at my stage, unfortunately, since my power starts at 5. Then the Spirit Squad, that's pretty straightforward. Space Squad as well. And then Eastern Squad at the bottom, all pretty straightforward pilot squads that I'm not going to be testing here. So before I start, let's talk about a really useful tip for leveling up your pilots. What you can do is go to Hero Mode, go to Terror, then pick your first ship as Pulse Blast, then play with whichever pilots you want to level up. You only use 1 energy per time if you do this, so your pilots only go down by 1 each time as well. This is a very cheap and effective way of leveling them up, something I would highly recommend doing if you want to get all your pilots up to level 20. So the first squad I'm going to be testing is the Miracle Squad. If we go over to the squad list, it's near the top. Every 60 seconds we'll receive a supply package, power ship, drone or super. Now this is probably useful on PvP and modes that take quite a long time. Endless would be another good example. As I'm here on Endless, let's give it a go here to show you all what it does. I think I'll get rid of my previous quit. This is on my second device anyway, so doesn't really matter what I do. So I think Endless mode is a good place to test this out. It takes quite a long time before you finally get anything with this squad, but it's potentially really useful. I think Endless and PvP are the places to use this squad, as I mentioned. So let's wait for a package to drop. It's going to take a bit of time. It will come from the top of the screen. The thing with this squad though is you don't know what it's going to drop, so there's no guarantees it will be something that's going to help you. But let's find out in a minute when the package drops. Should be here in a minute anyway. Well, with a bit of luck. It's a long 60 seconds, that's for sure. There we go. It was a power drop that I got this time around. So I can wait another 60 seconds for another supply package. I do think Endless Mode is probably the best place for this, if I'm being honest. There are better pilot squads that you can use in PvP, and there's definitely some better ones that you can use in the campaign as well. This would be completely useless in something like boss mode or mini boss mode. It's still a decent pilot squad though, but you can see what it actually does here. I think it's fair to put this 5th on my list, considering what it does. Definitely not the best pilot squad in the game, but it's okay for what it does. I will be playing quite a lot of Endless Mode as well to try and get my ships leveled up. That's one of the few things I still have to do on this game. So I think I will be using this squad quite a bit, and there was the next package. Another power drop actually, that's quite surprising. Anyway, let's quit out of here. You've all seen what this does. There we go. Alright, so let's move on to the next squad. This time around I'm going to be talking about the Raptor Squad. If we go down to here, let's scroll down. There we go. Starts the match with Wisdom Glory or Hurricane Hawk. You can see here. Now, I think this is actually most useful in boss mode. You can also use this when trying to do the Galaxy mission quests. It makes it a lot easier, in my opinion, starting with one of the slightly better ships. Let's try a boss that's not too difficult, but will give me some sort of a challenge. Here we go. Let's try this on medium. So this does kind of rely on luck. If you get the Hurricane Hawk, then it's great, as that's by far the most powerful out of the 2 ships that it can give. Hopefully I can still do this boss. You can see there how quickly the health is going down on the boss. Compared to Pulse Blast, this is actually tearing through it really quickly. I'll just pick that up as well. Just dodge these 2 attacks. Then defeat the boss like that, nice and quick. And I got the last crystal that I needed from the boss. Now I'll do that again, but with Pulse Blast, just to show you the difference. Right, here we go. I'll just skip the ad. Pilot Squad is off. Here we go. So now with just Pulse Blast, it's a lot slower. Of course, you might get Wisdom Glory, and that doesn't really help too much. Hurricane Hawk, though, makes this a lot easier than with Pulse Blast. So if you're trying to get the crystals from boss mode, I highly recommend trying this. It's actually surprisingly effective, and by this point, I basically defeated the boss. This time around, it's still got a fair old chunk of health. Not super difficult, though. Should be there in a minute, hopefully. There we go. Boss defeated again. But you got to see the difference, though. And I think that's probably the best use for that squad. Anyway, let's move on to the next squad. This time around, we're going to be using the Magic Squad. Let's just select the squad from the squad list. Scroll down and hopefully find it. There we go, near the bottom. Now, invulnerability for the first 10 seconds upon confronting bosses. This is pretty useful in all modes, but if you go to mini-boss mode, I think this is where its main use is at, if I'm being honest, since you encounter a boss every single time, so you get invincibility every single time. Let's give this a go anyway to show you what I mean. So this is the mode I basically play to get all my crystals as well. I don't normally use the invincibility method that I'm using here, but you can see its effectiveness. 10 seconds of invincibility against every single boss here. With a bit of luck, you'll get a decent ship like this as well, using this squad, and hopefully a bunch of crystals. That's always nice if you do get that. This is a very easy way of doing mini-boss mode, but it's not the fastest way. If you're struggling with the later stages, though, you can try this. And then you will obviously make it a lot easier. I'm getting quite lucky with the crystals, but that annoying poison wave attack has taken away half of my power. So this is going to take a bit longer than I would really like. Again, there you can see the effectiveness of this squad. Invincibility at the start gives you a bit of time. I like this ship as well, as it has this other invincibility shield. I'm getting quite a few crystals from this as well. I'm doing okay. I think I've had about 3 or 4 drop already. Super time should make this a lot quicker. I do like stage 8 as well. I think it's the best and most efficient stage for farming crystals due to that Abelusha boss that splits up and drops multiple crystals. That was a really good run so far though. Most of the bosses did actually drop a crystal. Let's dodge that PvP attack, be careful. I should almost be there, just got to get through this boss. It's taking a bit of time because my power is pretty low. There we go, that's done. So you got to see how effective that can potentially be in mini-boss mode. Alright, so let's move on to the next squad. My second favourite squad is the Jupiter Squad. So let's go over to the squad list and find it. Players will gain 2 power after respawning, so this is basically essential if you want to get through the harder campaign missions. I'm going to scroll down a bit and pick a stage at random to show the effectiveness of this. Let's do 140. I'll put on all the boosters. Doesn't really matter since this is my other device and none of this will be saved. Then I'll show you the effectiveness of this squad here. Alright, so here we go. So this shouldn't be too difficult. Just to test out this pilot squad, I will try not to die until I reach the boss. I've also made it so I get invincibility and a possible super time when I do die, so it should make the boss really easy. But it's mainly just to show the effectiveness of this pilot squad. I basically have the setup I've been using to finish all of the campaign stages. I still have a few to do on Crazy, but I've done most of them. The final 4 boss stages on Crazy, though, are ridiculously difficult and probably won't be completed for a long time yet. Right, let's be careful. Not taking a hit yet. But it's mainly when I get to the boss when this will be effective anyway. Still have my shield. I do have quite a high power level already as well, so it might not be that easy to show the effectiveness if I'm already maxed out by then, so I may need to die once before I reach the boss. If I go too high on the power anyway. Right, get through these lovely rockets. So I will deliberately die on the next wave, I think, as I'm already at 14 power. Then it will show you the power increase. Let's run into one of the rockets. There we go. And you watch the 14, then hit that. And now it's at maximum. Plus I got the invincibility from the super time, so that should easily carry me until the boss. Then when I reach the boss, just try and get through it as quickly as possible. Here we go, Devastate. I don't think this boss is actually that difficult. It's one of the easier late game bosses in my opinion. I don't want to pick up that, or is it a Tyrant, or the Terminator. Right, I'm going to use the bomb here. I might as well use it. Dodge, dodge. And probably most useful on the 3rd stage, as that's the hardest part of the boss. Before then, it's not difficult at all. I'm actually surprised how easy this boss is compared to Apache, which was the boss before this. Right, there we go. Most of the parts have been destroyed now. Right, there's quite a lot to dodge. Oh, there we go. Taking a hit anyway. There we go. That's the invincibility from the super time. So what I can do now, just to finish off the boss, is activate the shield before the super time wears off completely. And there we go. That's completely demolished the boss. Anyway, that's one effective way to use that pilot squad, a very easy way to get through some of the harder campaign missions, as long as you are prepared to use up your crystals to revive. And now for my favourite squad. This is the squad that I use more than any other. It's the Power Squad. When a boss appears, grants a ship stronger than the current one. Now this is basically useful in pretty much every single area of the game. In PvP, for example, this can get you to some of the higher ships really quickly. It's just a really good squad. So I'm going to go back into mini-boss mode to show how this can be effective. There's plenty of other modes you can use this in, but I think mini-boss mode is the best use of this squad. Alright, so here we go. Every time a boss spawns, I will get a better ship, so I should very rapidly go up to the better ships. And this will also force a Cyber Blade as well with a bit of luck, which is always nice. I have it so that Super Time activates on the Wisdom Glory as well, just to make it a bit quicker. Abelusha is the boss that splits up and normally gives a decent amount of crystals as well. So to get through this as quickly as possible. You can see though how effective this is. Every time a boss spawns, a better ship drops, and now I will have a Cyber Blade, which will mean I can get through this extremely quickly, which is always nice. The bosses hardly even appear now. I'm getting a lot of crystals. That's always a good result. There we go, final boss. Beaten really quickly. Nice. So that gives you an idea of how effective that squad can be, and without a doubt, that is my favourite pilot squad. And there we go, I think we're pretty much done with the pilot squad testing. Those are the 5 best pilot squads in the game, in my opinion. Bear in mind, I don't focus too much on PvP, so you may have different opinions, but those are the ones I'd recommend getting anyway. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing is always very much appreciated. You can see how I've managed to build up my account in the video on the screen. There's also a playlist, plus you can subscribe from here if you want to do so. And thanks for watching.